how you doing? Hope you're well. Just out for an evening stroll by the lake. I just thought I'd do a quick Facebook Live, see how you're all doing. Yeah, I just wanted to tell the story. A few years ago, I was working in a bank in central Manchester, and my role was quite good actually. I was the allocator for the team, working on Dow Jones risk and compliance. So it's pretty good job really. We had a team of about 30 odd staff there in the team, and my job was to allocate them work on a daily basis. So I'd come in the morning into the bank and allocate everybody some work. So it was a business department, charities. So anybody who had a business would set up an account, and I would then get the work in, and I would just distribute it out to the teams across the floor. And I made good relationships with all the staff there, so it was really good. It was a good job, and I was there for a few years as well. And it gave me a lot of experience, because dealing with a large team like that, you learn a lot of things, and that experience helps you wherever you go in life. And unfortunately, I developed arthritis in the back of my neck and had a hernia, so I had a lot of pain and all this kind of stuff. So now and again, I'd have a day off here and there because of the pain. But my manager, he was really cool. He was a very nice guy, so he was all right with that. But then the bank system started to change because of regulations, and they basically transferred from paper to digital. So they're going through all these different kinds of processes in terms of how the bank operated and the paperwork and all that, because it's becoming digital. And they also bought a new system in as well, with the software where everybody would have to log in a particular way and all this kind of stuff. And most of my colleagues were in their mid kind of 40s or whatever, 50s, so they were older kind of people, so that was really good. And then eventually one day I'd missed a day, and what happened is our teams had got split up, and a new manager, and she wasn't that nice, to be honest. No one really liked her. And one day she just took me into, when I came back off sick, she took me into the room and she said, look, we're going to have to let you go, because I was contracting at the time at the bank. So I said, okay. I mean, it wasn't so nice, because the way she did it and everything, because I'd been there for a few years and had good relations with a lot of people. So eventually I just said, okay. And then, everybody was really vexed that she treated me like that. But, you never know what happens. Sometimes you go through particular occurrences and it gives you different opportunities. And at the time, yes, I was a little bit vexed, a little bit upset, but hey-ho, that's how life is. Sometimes these things happen, and you just have to deal with it in whatever particular way you can. So as I left that job, I had already set up my own business at the time, so I was doing bits and bobs. That's another story for another time. But within the last few years, not being in a 9-5 has actually worked out good for me, because some of you that know me a bit better or a bit closer know that obviously my dad's not been too well, so I've been pretty much looking after him, taking him to hospital appointments. He's had multiple problems, so going to doctors and all this kind of stuff. So if I was working that same job, it would have been very difficult for me to actually go to all these appointments and hospital and all this kind of stuff. So it worked out well, because now my time was much more flexible. So I was able to, take my dad to the hospital when he needed to be, and I was able to work around my time and my own schedule. And this is one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur or working for yourself as such. But in terms of my learning from these experiences, there's a lot of gurus out there that, are telling people, oh, leave your job, do this, do that. But my advice is, don't leave your job. Don't leave your job straight away, at least. What I would advise is, think about what you want to do some research. If you want to do something on the side, if you want to set something up, think about it, research it, look at the different industries, whether it's e-commerce, physical products, digital products, whatever kind of products it might be. And once you've done the research and you decide that, yeah, you want to pursue this, you use the time effectively. So, you know, for example, you could, let's just say you made the decision today, you could turn around and basically, you know, plan it and organize yourself that, look, in the next 24 months, I want to leave where I am, but not right now. You want to position yourself so you're in a strong position so that you've actually got funds and reserves. So if you did have to leave your job or if you were redundant, then you've got enough kind of reserves to be able to actually, you know, survive for a couple of years at least. So my advice is, you know, use the time effectively, get a strategy, get a plan. So for example, from today, if you want to do it in the next 24 months or 18 months, you know, even if you're doing 1 or 2 or 3 jobs right now, just blast it as much as you can. And then once you get to a stage where, you know, you're in a better position and you can actually leave your job, then it's okay, because you know that, you know, you've got a couple of years then worth of reserves so that you can actually, you know, work effectively without having to struggle financially. And these are some of the learnings that I just wanted to share with yourselves in terms of how you could develop. And within that time period, you know, you could use that effectively. You could set up your website, you can learn about sales and marketing, you can learn about, you know, how to get leads, lead generation. You can pick up all these various kind of learnings and knowledge and then implement into your business strategy. And that will really give you a strong position. So when you're ready to, you know, pick it up and, for example, if you do start doing something on the side now and you're making a little bit of income, you know, over the next 2 years or whatever, whilst you're planning, you know, that could really build up. And if you do it effectively, you know, spend some money on yourself, invest in yourself, you know, learn, buy courses, get knowledge. I'll tell you one thing, right? I've spent a lot of money. I've spent thousands of pounds on university degrees. I've got 3 degrees in terms of education. I put a lot of investment. And some people would say that the education system or university degrees and all this kind of stuff is a scam in itself. And so on. But like now, for example, if you go to university, you're going to be looking at paying, like here in the UK, you have to pay something like £9,000 or something per year for a course. And if you're traveling away from home, you've got to think about accommodation costs, you've got to think about food costs, you've got to think about all these other costs. And by the time you know it, maybe in 3 years' time, you could end up with like 50k in debt. And it's like a mini mortgage. So, I mean, even before you've settled down, or maybe you've got married, or you're looking, you know, even before you've purchased your own home as such, you know, you could be in 50k debt. So, you know, I spent a lot of money on my degrees. You know, I first did a business psychology degree in Birmingham. That was a long time ago. That was back in like 2003 or something, many years ago. So you've got to really think about what kind of degree you're going to do if you are going to get into education. And, you know, something specific like medicine or engineering is probably worth it. But if you're going to do, like, retrospectively speaking, if you're going to do something like business or something, I mean, I would really say to you, think about it very, very carefully, because you might end up with doing the degree, coming out of the degree with a lot of debt, but not finding that actually, no, you can't get a job in the field that you did your degree in. It happened to me, happened to a lot of people I know. A lot of people did the degrees, but they ended up working in call centers or driving Ubers or whatever, because they couldn't actually get a job in the field that they wanted to do it in, or a job in the field that their education was related to. So you've got to really think about this carefully. And I didn't have many mentors. Here's the lads here. How you doing, guys?
All good, how are you?
Hello, say hello.
Hello, hi, hey.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people will find that their degree might not be worth what they thought it was worth. So you've got to be careful and you've got to think about this before you do it. So I was saying, like, I never had many mentors. I never had many people that could advise me as such. So now if I see people and I'm talking to them and they tell me that they're going to go and do a particular degree or something like that, you know, I give them my advice, not just hoo-ha or anything like that. It's based upon my experience, based upon me spending a lot of money, investing a lot of money in education and actually going through the higher education system here in the UK. So, heed my words of advice and actually think about it carefully if you are going to go into that. So when I lost that job in the bank, I was pretty upset, but it gave me other kind of opportunities, which, as you can probably see, if you've been following me particularly over the last few years, some of you that might have been following me in the last few months, if you've joined my Facebook groups, or if you follow me on any other kind of platforms, so I'm on like LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter, you'll see that I've been traveling every month: March, April, May, June, July. I've been to Spain multiple times. I've been to Portugal. I've been to Istanbul, alhamdulillah. I've been to actually Spain again just recently, about a week ago. So, a lot of these opportunities have come recently and over the last few years in terms of the consultancy work that I've been doing, working with clients here in the UK, internationally, and different parts of the world. So there are a lot of opportunities out there. You just have to think about it and try to reach as many people as possible, talk to people and find out what's going on. Learn from those that have experience, and then try to pick up some of that learning and then implement it in your kind of strategy, in the way you're doing things. And you can see how, things develop and so on. And, there are a lot of opportunities out there in pretty much every field that you can imagine. And I would definitely advise you to go and travel out there in the world. You'll see that when you go to certain places, like I've been to Spain multiple times. I think I've been to Spain at least, a lot of flies here, I'm just by the lake, so I've been to Spain at least 8 times that I can remember. And every time I go, I always pick up some new learning. So I've done different kinds of projects, different kind of work around entrepreneurship, education, different kind of fields. And what I've learned is in terms of travel and tourism, the opportunities available. In terms of Islamic heritage in places like Spain, you'll find there's a lot out there that you can learn from. And if you go back into history, what I find is there are a lot of lessons in history. If you look at the great classics, if you look at people like Seneca, Aristotle, Plato, you look at all the great philosophers out there in the world, and the thinking and the theories that they had at that time, actually, you'll find a lot of it is cyclical in nature. You can read Ibn Khaldun's book, and you'll find that you'll see the cyclical nature of economic cycles, for example. And a lot of the learning you pick up from this knowledge in terms of the heritage and historical side, you can implement it in today's world and also business. So I will be talking about this at some stage. I'll give you a glimpse of my personal libraries, of the knowledge that I've picked up. And as some of you probably know, I've written over 20 pieces of literature that are available on Amazon online. And you've got to start reading more kind of business books if you're involved in entrepreneurship, or even if you're just studying, or even for general knowledge and just to pick up learning for yourself in terms of personal development and in terms of enhancing your lifestyle, and especially if you're doing business and even psychology. So I've been doing psychology since I was 16 years old. So I won't give away my age, but I've been doing it for a very long time. And I've got multiple degrees in that field. So there's a lot of learning you can do in terms of influencing, advertising, sales. Psychology plays a large element in it. So some of you might be going through, for example, redundancy at your place of work, or you might be experiencing some sort of difficulties, or you might be transitioning into new jobs or new places of work, or you might have just lost your job. I've come across a lot of people I talk to, and there's various different types of challenges and adversity that they're going through. So, what I would say is there's always a reason for something. There's always a reason why something happens. And, initially it might be difficult to kind of deal with or cope with, but what I would advise is, chin up, don't give up. Use that particular incident or occurrence in your life and actually, use the opportunities around you. Go out there and network with people, find opportunities related to your field and get involved. And get involved with as many people as possible. Like I was doing voluntary work for an organization quite a few years ago, and I established a good rapport, good relationships, built trust. I delivered high quality work for them. I led delegations to university in Sweden. I led delegations to Turkey, Istanbul, many years ago. And later on, those links and networks I had allowed me to win paid contracts with them at a later stage with that organization, and I become a clientele of mine. So look at who's in your network. Just go through your phone, find out who you know, and you might find that internally with the people that you already know, there will be plenty of opportunities for business, or sometimes referrals and so on. So I hope you've enjoyed this short live. And you can see here, you can see the lake. It's beautiful. It's always good to get out in nature, particularly if you live in the cities, if you live in London, Istanbul, New York, wherever you might be in the world, Johannesburg, Islamabad, Dhaka, wherever you might be in the world. It's always good to get out there in nature, and because we tend to neglect our well-being and wellness, and well-being is an important factor in terms of helping you get to the next level within your life.